Okay, so I'm going to start this by saying that I know this is actually already a video on an OSP, uh, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway, just because I completely forgot that the video existed, and when I went into the first, uh, technically second lesson of my psychology class, I was not expecting a brief lesson on Greek mythology, which I'm just gonna briefly go over. It's only a couple paragraphs, um, but that's really all that we uh, that we really need to go over. There's this is gonna fall somewhat under like not the current overly sarcastic podcast, but the previous ones before it was actually a full podcast and more so just having a subject, just sort of speaking on it. But anyway, in Greek mythology, Psyche, I believe, is what that other website told me is how it was pronounced. I'm assuming. So, a lot of this might be wrong. I don't know, honestly. When Psyche was a mortal woman whose beauty was so great that it rivaled that of the goddess. I almost said it. Aphrodite. I cannot read. Rivaled Aphrodite, which is just from a general standpoint, apparently not a very good idea to just be that pretty. Aphrodite became so jealous of Psyche that she sent her son Eros, or as the other one, uh, the book here, well, the digital version of this book says Eros, but the more in-depth page I pulled up says Cupid. So assu- I am gonna make a quick Google search just to make sure. In Latin, he's called Amor or Cupid. Oh, okay. Um, so why does this one talking about the Greek myth refer to him by the Latin name? Huh. Interesting. Learn something mildly new every day. That's the point of school. Anyway, Eros was sent to make Psyche fall in love with the ugliest man in the world. However, uh, he he falls in love with her instead. Which I mean, potentially. No, no, I'm not even gonna make that joke because he's Greek god. He's not gonna be ugly. I can't. The joke wouldn't even make too much sense, especially considering the rest of the story. Well, the rest of the myth. I'll be more closely accurate. He took Psyche to his palace and gave her many gifts, yet uh, did not allow her to see his face, which uh, did lead to some suspicion from Psyche, but mostly from her sisters, or as this other source says, sister. I do not know if there's multiple. I'll double check again. I could have done this beforehand, but you know what? That I misspelled Psyche. She had two elder sisters. Okay, so there's two. Or maybe only according to some variations of the myth. I don't know. I've not done, and I really don't plan on doing more videos on myths. This was just very interesting, and I don't actually have another video planned for a little bit, so I'm making do with what I come across. Psyche betrays Arrow's wishes to not see his face, and he leaves because of it, going back to um, apparently going back to Aphrodite, and moving on mostly, except he does not, and goes to Aphrodite like, reunite us, please. And she agrees to on the condition of Psyche completing four tasks. Impossible ones, in fact, one could say. And honestly, me looking up what these tasks were is like the only reason that this little recording is even happening. So apparently, the tasks were to sort. There's two different things here. One of them just says grains, which I'm assuming just most of this would fall under some type of grains, or at least the general umbrella. If they were mixed together, it would be called a grain. But this goes into specifics of barley, poppy seeds, beans, and I didn't look up how to pronounce this word, lentils. I'm not good at reading. Shoot. Lentils. Yep. However, um, it just says ants next to it in parentheses, so I'm just gonna go with ants. But the Pismires, it just says ants. I'm gonna go with ants. Sort sort it out within the time limit for her or help her. The second one, gather a hank of wool from the shining golden sheep. Reed tells her how to accomplish this task without being killed by the vicious animals. Is the sheep the vicious animals, or are there more vicious animals? I'm going into doing some fun um, research. Um, was the shining? I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna include shining, even though it's just a descriptor in this case. Is sheep vicious? I accidentally typed in viscous. Or a flock of vicious golden fleeced sheep with poisonous bites. Oh, they're poisonous. Gotcha. That, um, I guess is reasonable. Fill a crystal vessel with the water of a spring that feeds the sticks and another word that I don't know how to pronounce. Cocytus. Thank you. I didn't need to hear it twice. And then the last one, wow, I don't need to look up any of these words because it's just getting a box of beauty cream from Persephone. which this is actually where our our thing basically ends. There's like a paragraph and a half left at the bottom about her quest to get this cream. uh, Basically, unsurprisingly, going to the underworld was a challenge for a lot of Greek for a lot of Greek heroes. Because I don't think it's exactly something you should do. You should be able to do casually without the strength to do so, or just the ability in general. But I guess you can. Was confident when Aphrodite told her that she would have to go to the most dangerous region known to mortals. The voyage was easy, especially with the after the speaking tower told her how to find the entryway to the underworld, how to get around Tron and Cerberus, and how to behave before the underworld queen. Part of the fourth test that was too much was to bring back the Puny Queen. The temptation was too great to make herself more beautiful. To use the cream on herself instead, even though she was so willing to get Eros back just one task ago. Needed this new. If the if the perfect beauty of the perfect goddess needed the beauty cream, then it would be better if an imperfect woman used it. Apparently, is her. um, for lack of better term, I'm going to use canonical reasoning. She got the box. However, when she opened it, she fell into a death-like sleep, which was Aphrodite's plan all along. Wow. I was expecting something worse. At this point, there was a need for divine intervention. The whole story's been. Oh, sorry. The whole myth. I need to not mess that up. The whole myth has been divine intervention. Because it's just goddesses and gods. And then this one woman. Which, honestly, just sort of. Yeah. It's fairly common, actually. Huh. I didn't think about that before saying it, but yeah. In the story would have an ending that made anyone that would make anyone happy. Zeus, Eros brought his wife to Olympus, where she's given nectar, and I'm gonna double check this word because I think I know how to pronounce it, but I don't want to be an idiot. Any more of an idiot than I already am. There we go. I don't think that was picked up. Ambrosia. I thought I was going to say it and it would have been close enough to right, but I still would have messed it up somehow. So that she would be immortal. And that is where it ends. I have a feeling there should be something more. Uh, but this ends there. How unfortunate. But yeah, uh, This actually ended up going on for much longer than I had intended it to, but it was an enjoyable time just going through that. So you know what? I don't regret it. It'll at least be, hopefully, a mildly entertaining watch for you if you made it this far. Which, if you did, thank you. Anyway, yeah, no, this is the end.